Hey there, welcome to Millennium.Milestone Presents, a site dedicated to storytelling in books, movies, video games, and other exciting genres where our takes are not likely to burst out of your chest.
Oh no, not again.
Well, I did say likely. Well, we're coming at you today with the 10th installment in the Alien franchise, this time going to new heights, new destinations, someplace we've never been before in any destination before this, also known as Planet Earth.
What kind of fucked up tour is this?
Set before the events of the first Alien movie, we're introduced to Wendy, a young little girl who is sick and dying, and is the first of her kind to be transferred as a child with her mind to that of an synth. We're quickly introduced to her as Wendy, along with several other children who now are introduced to this new project, where they're all transferred from their sickly bodies into that of a synthetic humanoid. This sets the stage for later on when we now are introduced to another crew in space who are returning back alien species from other worlds to be collected and studied over on Earth.
Well, Ian, I'm not making the same mistakes again.
No, you're making all new ones.
Oh yes, and mistakes are definitely made. On the flip side of the story, we're introduced to Morrow, a synth who is supposed to protect his fellow crewmates, but instead accidentally lets the specimens run loose in the ship, killing everyone, leaving him to allow the ship to crash right into Prodigy City, leaving a disaster on the hands of the corporation that runs this city right here. In this newly established Alien franchise, there are 5 corporations that run different parts of Earth. There's also the well-known Weyland-Yutani Prodigy that were just introduced in the last segment here, as well as Dynamic, Lynch, and Threshold. The Prodigy Corporation is run by Boy Cavalier. He's the boy genius that invents the synthetic humanoids and allows the children to be transferred into them. His first and favorite of the children, Wendy, convinces him to send her and the rest to go on a rescue mission at the crash site. Her motivations are to rescue her brother Joe, who prefers to be called Hermit, who is a medic working for the Prodigy Corporation's army. Before her transformation, Wendy was known as Marcy, and her transference into her new body was kept secret from Joe. Despite having reservations, Cavalier allows the children to go on this mission in hopes of testing their abilities and also at the same time securing the specimens left by Weyland-Yutani at the crash site. So this sets the stage for the first episode going into the second. Going into episode 2, Herman and his crew had already arrived at the crash site in episode 1 and systematically were attacked by the specimens on the ship. Hermit falls down to the lower levels of the crash site when the alien leaps out and attacks them, so now the clock is ticking for Wendy to locate her brother before he's devoured. We cut back to Hermit, who investigates the crash site wreckage and encounters the deadly xenomorph upon a colonial dinner party. Yep, you heard me, a colonial dinner party. Don't ask me why, but this is in here. The xenomorph attacks the party guests and nearly kills Hermit, only to be rescued by Morrow, who zaps him unconscious and captures the xenomorph. The attempt is thwarted by another military squad that awakens the frontal xenomorph, allowing it yet again to escape after killing all of them. Meanwhile, Wendy uses her AI abilities to find Hermit with her companion Slightly. The two finally find Hermit and awaken him, revealing for the first time that she is his sister, Marcy. The two try to make their way back to the others when they discover the xenomorph eggs hidden below the confines of the wreckage. The xenomorph that attacked Hermit from before returns and carries him away to the ship's exterior, prompting Wendy to rescue him, cutting into episode 3.
Game over, man. It's game over.
You would think that. However, our girl boss extraordinaire shows us tough guys how it's really done. So as you can gather from that little bit of sarcasm, of course Wendy saves Hermit and brings him back to the Neverland Ranch, which that in itself is an interesting little metaphor that we'll revisit soon enough. Speaking of not so tough guys, Slightly finally meets up with Smee, who finds him near the site where the alien eggs are, and are confronted by Morrow, who is trying to secure the eggs. But before he can gather information about what's going on, he's also confronted by Kirsch, who threatens him with the eggs ready to hatch and attack him at any given moment. He escapes once again to fight another day, you could say.
And here we are. The fate of the planet is in the hands of a bunch of retards I wouldn't trust with a potato gun.
Upon returning back to the Neverland facility, Boy Cavalier has the specimens moved to a secret lab area, and soon discover, with the help of Kirsch, that these creatures are too dangerous for anybody that's flesh and blood to be around, so it's decided that only synthetics should be working around the species at all times. All the while, Wendy is put under sedation to make repairs and bring her back online after her encounter with the xenomorph. Hermit is also severely injured, suffering a puncture to his lung, so he has his lung replaced as well. It's noticed among some of the children that there are behavior problems with them as they try to process the trauma that they experienced at the crash site as well as returning back to Neverland. We catch up with Morrow, who reports back to Miss Yutani, the CEO of Weyland-Yutani, that the specimens were all taken by Prodigy, and he vows that he will do his best to try and return them back to Weyland as soon as possible. To overcome this problem, Morrow had planted a listening device on Slightly and uses this as a means of communicating with him directly at the Neverland facility. With a little bit of cajoling and convincing, he convinces Slightly to become his friend and uses this as a means to gain access to the Neverland facility.
It's not creepy.
Now, the episode ends with Wendy waking up, and I have to admit, I'm a little slightly confused by the ending a little bit. Maybe somebody in the comments can help me. But at least the way it looks to me, Wendy has awoken. She heads over to the lab where they're working on the xenomorph. And all of a sudden, as she's hearing this high-pitching sound, she drops to the ground. Now, in between these scenes, it appears that everyone else in the room should have seen her because they were working in the same lab where she walked in on the project. But here she is, out cold, and we go on to the next episode.
Ma.
Are you stupid or something?
I wouldn't say that per se. However, there is a bit of a mystery as they shut down Wendy's hearing to try and figure out what it is that about her that allows her to hear the sounds of the aliens or the xenomorph. Meanwhile, back with the creepy relationships, Morrow is continuing to talk with Slightly and finally convinces him that he needs to help be his friend and help him to retrieve what he lost from Prodigy, which is that of the xenomorph eggs. Slightly agrees to do this in spite having reservations.
Thanks, friend.
To add to the long list of creepy things that are on this show, we return back to what was previously presented in episode 2, the eyeball creature, which was attacked on Nibs early on, and now they're experimenting on it to see what exactly it does, and let's just say Dolly doesn't survive this one.
But wait! There's more!
I'm pregnant.
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
Now, if you're not catching on to this, let me just spell it out for you. Nibs is also a child in an android body. So, think of that if you will. Let that sink in.
Those creatures can't hurt you. You know that, right? They're all locked up. I said the...
You one crazy ass bitch!
And the craziness does continue to fester as we go back to Slightly, who is now contacted once again by Morrow, and persuades him a little bit further because Slightly tries to back out of the deal when he finds out that Morrow is sitting with someone that he knows very, very well.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
So it's now agreed that he will try to choose a subject on the island that can be brought into the lab where the eggs are and basically make them the host of one of the eggs. But unknown to either one, there is still one other party that's listening in on this conversation very closely as well. In the final moments of this episode, we jump over to the rest of the gang meeting together, talking about their experiences, and slightly arguing with Wendy as to why she gets to have her brother here, but not the rest of them have their families. Even Wendy's brother admits that they should all be reunited with their families and not be left alone like this. Oh, and there is just one more thing to cap this off. Yep, you guessed it. Wendy can talk to aliens. Introducing your Alien Whisperer. So that's the first 4 episodes of Alien Earth. My initial thoughts, I'll be honest, when I first got into the first 2, maybe even 3 episodes, I was kind of like unsure, maybe even a little bit slightly bored with the setup for the series. But I will say, episode 4 kind of saved it for the most part. I think some of the things that maybe make me question about the thought about this is kind of the themes, actually, of what is implied with this series. Like, for instance, you have children that were sick, which is understandable, and are being saved, so to speak, by being placed in these synthetic bodies. And now there's these ethical questions that come up with this, which I do find that slightly intriguing, but now you have to keep that in mind with their interactions with the adults that are presented in this series, and you ask yourself sometimes about the ethics of that as well, and what the challenges it brings doing this to children who are now in these bodies that maybe should be with adults, which it's already implied in the series that adults cannot handle the transition from a human body into a machine body. So it has to be a lesser brain function that can handle such a traverse transformation. The other thing I find intriguing about the series is that it also uses this mix between Peter Pan and alien horror, which is quite an interesting thing because the characters themselves are named after characters from the book, but you can also see a little bit of nuances thrown into the series with Boy Cavalier pretty much, I would say, is the evil version of Peter Pan. And you kind of also have Morrow taking on the role of Captain Hook in this as well. So that is sort of an intriguing little twist on the idea and concept of the series. I'll admit I was a little bit jaded by Prometheus and Alien Covenant, so I wasn't intrigued in wanting to see anything alien-like. And I have yet to see Romulus, which I have heard good things about it from at least a mixed bag of fans that feel one way about it, and another bag of fans that feel a different way about it. So I'm on the fence with this series. I'm going to continue to watch this and give this the fair assessment it deserves, because I think there is something intriguing, at least with the concept for this. But maybe some of you guys have different thoughts on this. I definitely would like to hear what you have to say. Like, share, and subscribe if you think that I've given you a little bit of value to my thoughts on this series. And as I always say at the end of the outro, you best better believe I'll be back.